Okay. Okay, so let's start setting this up then. Hey, look, I got a background now. Woo! Go me! Kind of. Oh my god, what is the... My laptop is hanging up on something here. Shiz. Well, hopefully I'll get this sorted out in the next 4 minutes. Wow, I am buffing a lot. What is this? Okay, that's really weird. That is really, really weird. Okay, I'm gonna kill that, kill that. Oh, no, for sale. Shit, what can I close? What I forget later. Oh, excuse me. I feel terrible for that. Okay, something is really running. Okay, let me kill that. That's good. Time is it? Got 3 minutes to sort this stuff out. Yay! Okay, hold on. I'm minor issues. Ugh. No, 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 no. This is weird. I've never had issues like this before. I'm running at 650k. Why am I running at 650k? That should be impossible. Okay, that's fine. Holy. Going through everything to see why I'm going so high. I should not be reaching a download upload of 650 kilobytes a second. That's insane. And it's showing in my live stream health. Oh, lovely. This is really weird. Like, I've done this on Steam God knows how many times, and I've never had a problem. Huh. I'll cancel that. So that's not going to fix anything. Yes, I'm live and recording for 4 minutes now, and I'm still not running well. Why? Huh. Yes, I'm live and recording for 4 minutes now, and I'm still sorry everyone who has to listen to me ramble for the next couple minutes till I have this. Let's go to... there we go. Let's see, what time is it? It is 4:59 EST. My stream is... Apparently I cannot get my stream level up higher. Something is chugging bandwidth. I have a really good feeling someone's downloading something somewhere. But anyway. If anyone is... Wow, this is impressive. I've never had this much problem with a stream before. Holy shit. Sorry. Wow. Man, next time I should just do it through Twitch. I've never had a problem with Twitch. Like, seriously, I've never had a problem on Twitch. And the one time I do it on YouTube, it's like, I hate you. And it's like, still not crud. Oh my god, I've tried to change everything to like, there's probably some settings somewhere that I don't know about, and I'm just not finding it. So whatever, I'm going to have to go with this for now then. Sorry people. Okay. Oh man. So I'm trying to watch this buffer and then I'm trying not to watch it and then I'm like, dear god, why? Hold on. Let me close that. Let's see if that'll give me... Wow, okay, my disk and my memory are both low right now. Yet my computer's running like something's trying to like chase it through the woods. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to start this now because apparently it's 5 o'clock. If it ever works, dear god. Okay, so apparently I'm having some buffering. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know why. I've never had this problem on Twitch, which is weird, because I've run way more challenging things on Twitch. But anyway, so hi everyone. I'm going to start answering questions. I'm probably going to start with the ones that are currently sitting in the box. And let's pull those up. Okay, let's see. Okay. So, Anonymous asked, how do you review Japanese books if you are not good with the language? Can you tell a lot of quality from picture content? That's actually a really great question. How do you review if you're not good with the language? I am nowhere near what I would call fluent. So I probably fall into that category. Like, I can read at like a snail's pace and understand it, but I can't really do too much better than that. But if you're someone who's buying some of the books that I've reviewed and you don't know any Japanese at all, you can get a lot from picture quality. Like, especially when you have any books whose pictures are by Hiroshi Mizoguchi. His photographs are just amazing. He's been doing this since like the 60s. The guy is a pro. Like, he's literally like the god of photography. So pretty much almost any book that he has pictures in is good, except for the new one that was written by Judith Clancy, which was terrible. I really don't want to go into the specifics of that book because I already laid that out. It was terrible. Just wow. And yes, I could have done so much better. But anyway, so getting back to how do you review the books? For the most part, I try to read as much as I can understand. Like, again, I'm not fluent. I can't understand everything. So for me, some of the topics can get a little bit hard. Like, I'll have to like sit there and be like, what does this kanji mean? And like have to like find it. It takes like 5-10 minutes to do it. And it's like, oh, it just means that. And it's like, get back to there. 5-10 minutes later, it's repeat itself. And like, it's bad when you have a book that has to put furigana beside the kanji, which is like, most adults should know how to pronounce this. And it's like, oh god. So, to that one, if you like a book, and even if you can't read the language, if someone else tells you that it's good, then it's really good. Hence partially why I do book reviews. But that's just me. Mostly because, well, a lot of books on the topic are going to be written in Japanese as compared to English, and the ones in English are really redundant. Like, I don't want to say that as, like, I hate thinking about that, but it's so redundant. Like, there's some really good books out there. As obviously I've reviewed them before, but I mean, then there are others that I feel like people have published just to, like, get a quick buck in. And I'm gonna use Judith Clancy's again here because it's a great example of how to crash and burn. Like, seriously crash and burn? That book was so bad. Like, it was really made for English tourists who are just kind of walking by in the area, and they're like, oh, I just want to pick up a book to, quickly learn about the area and stuff. But oh my god, it's so bad. It is so bad. Like, it's a simple book, and somehow it gets simple facts wrong. And, like, I couldn't believe it when I read it. And yes, I really was forewarned that this book was not worth money. And I thought at the time I was thankful that I paid undercover price because someone was trying to get rid of it, and now I know why someone was trying to get rid of it. So, yeah. For the books that I've rated low, unfortunately, yes, you're going to find that the English ones, they don't tend to have as high of ratings as some of the Japanese ones, and that's not that they aren't good, but that they either get off topic or they're just terrible. They were made for a cash grab, like Judith Clancy's book. So on that note, yes, that is how you review books if you're not good with the language. Read as much as you can, and if not, yes, you can tell a lot from the quality of the picture content. The one that I posted last night, just simply called Gion, it has a lot of beautiful pictures, and it's actually quite a large format book. Like, I wouldn't call it a picture book, though. Not like some of the other ones. Like, this was quite text-heavy. But it equaled text in the amount of images that you were given. And in this one, like, all of the images clearly stated who was in the image, which is amazing, because you don't always get that. Actually, I don't really think they started doing that in most books until, like, the 80s. Up into the 90s, you get a lot of things until there, like, no one really cared, and then suddenly people are like, well, we want to know who's in the picture, and they're like, okay. Because obviously the photographer knows who they're taking pictures of. So, yeah. If you want to tell quality, anything by Hiroshi Mizoguchi. Anything that he's used, except for Judith Clancy's new book. I completely and utterly recommend, because, yeah, it's great stuff that he does. Okay, so moving on. Is it okay to wear hitore in the winter months if it's just too hot? I have a hitore pine needles kimono. Is there any way to tell if it's an unfinished awase kimono? The seams are covered, making it look finished. Okay. Can you wear hitore in the winter months if it's just too hot? If you're a purist, you'd say no, but depending on where you live, your winters could be hot. Honestly, I'm not against that. If you want to wear hitore, which means that it has no inner lining because it's made for summer, and it's hot where you are, and it's December or something, go ahead. Like, obviously your seasonality is not going to match what's going on in Japan right now, so that's not a good thing to kind of want to overheat just because it's hot. So, like, please don't do that. If you want to wear hitore in the winter, go for it. That's awesome. Because obviously your winters are like Hawaii. You may be in Hawaii. I don't know. That's cool, though. So, on to the second part of that. Is there a way to tell if it's an unfinished awase kimono? The seams are covered, making it look finished. Okay, so to tell if it's an unfinished awase kimono, that's really a weird kind of question, because you either have a karieba, which is the kimono that's stitched, well, it's kind of stitched in a mock way so that you can actually see what the finished product would look like, but the stitches are really thin and few and far between. Like, it barely holds its shape. If you have finished seams and there aren't any, it's really weird to explain, like, if you see some hitoe kimono and you look on the inside, obviously, on where the seam lines are, if there's a lot of fabric sitting there, and I mean like a lot, and you would think, this should be covered, it's possible that you're looking at an unfinished awase, but if it has the proper stitching already, I don't think it's unfinished. Like, you would finish those stitches and then like almost immediately apply in your hakake. So I don't really know how to say that one. And also, pine needles, sorry, I didn't even get back to that one. Pine needles are an all year symbol. You can wear pine needles in summer, you can wear pine needles in winter. They tend to be more common in winter because they're an evergreen, and evergreens look nicer in the snow than, dead plants. So, again, pine is all season. Like, go for it. So, I'm just trying to go back to, like, the unfinished awase. If the seams and everything are fine, then I can't see it being an unfinished awase unless the fabric is really thick. Because you figure a normal unfinished awase would just end up being hitoe. Like, that seems kind of obviously there. So, if the seams are correct, and everything looks like it's in together, and your fabric looks light, then you probably have a hitoe. If you have heavy fabric, and you're missing your inner lining, including your hakake, then yes, it's likely an unfinished awase. Also, always look for those loose, not really loose, they're kind of spaced out stitches. Well, they are loose, you can cut them quite easily, and that's the whole point, is to literally just yank them out and then actually do the real stitching, which is cool, but wow, sometimes it can be a pain in the ass when people will leave those in once you're done cleaning a kimono. And that's actually one of the fun things I want to get to, is cleaning a kimono. So that was a fun question. I hope I answered that one, I really do. Like, I'm going to pick up a picture here. It is of a karieba, which is kimono loosely sewn together so you can see what the finished state is going to look like. And I mean, this is really, 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 really on the light side of karieba. Like, normally they'll even like stitch the sleeves together. This one like doesn't even have the sleeves stitched. It's just at the top, and it's like, okay. And it also, beside it, they even have like the piles for the inner lining, and it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So what happened to this kimono? Obviously, it's not new. I have documentation on that one that it's clearly not new and it's been worn before. And it appears that it was taken apart because it was cleaned. And looking at all of the images that are provided by the seller, it looks very clean. Like, there's no stains on this thing at all. There's a few marks on one area that I guess the fabric had tore or something after a while. The first set of stitches are really good. There's actually two beside each other. The second one is just terrible. And I'm not sure if someone did that like as a temporary and meant to go back and fix it, but they didn't. So, That's really interesting. You figure if you sent it out to get cleaned like that you would, do the proper stitching and fix the thing up. But yeah, I don't really know what happened there. But yeah, cleaning a kimono is not cheap because it's really labor intensive, like incredibly. Like, not only do you have to literally pick apart the kimono, literally pick it apart by taking out every single piece of thread that's holding it together, you have to clean every single panel by hand, and most of it's really nice silk. So you gotta know A, how to clean silk very well, and B, not screw it up. And then repeat that a bunch of times over for every single panel and every single piece. There are a lot of pieces. So then after you've done all that, you have to let it dry, make sure again you have no defects, and then from there you stitch it back into the shape it originally was, which I've been told from people who have done it can take anywhere between 40 and 50 hours. So it's really labor intensive. Like when people ask, like, how much would it cost for like someone to send out and clean it? Technically, you have two options. You can, in North America, you can dry clean kimono. I've have yet to do that, although I've looked into it, just because it's far cheaper than sending them off to Japan to do. But I mean, like, even if you were to get it done in North America, $100 to $150 wouldn't seem unreal. Actually, that might even be at the bottom. But then again, they're not going to take apart your entire kimono. Although, I did see one place that did take out the lining and then put it back in just to wash it better. And it did look really nice. I'd have to go find that link again. It's been a while since I've seen it. So that was using modern dry cleaning techniques. If you send it out to Japan to get fixed, obviously they're not just going to use dry cleaning techniques. Although some will. Mostly because the silk can be really hard to fix. Which, again, it's a gorgeous textile, but such a pain if anything happens to it. And eventually you can be as careful as you want, but something's gonna happen, and oh my god, I hate saying that, I really do. So looking at, back to this Karieba here, I'm just thinking, like, okay, so this probably would have cost, in order to unpick it, clean it, and kind of put it back into quasi state, that would have probably been about $150 to $200, which is, it's where a lot of the problems of kimono come in, because there's some beautiful older kimono that you can get, and most of them are cheap as hell because they have little stains, and those stains are more expensive to get out than what you could sell the garment for, which is really a condition issue. Like, there's some kimono that it may be possible and or worth it to possibly send off for cleaning. Although, I mean, like, if these are ones that, like, I was selling, like, it'd be really hard then to turn a profit because that would really cut into your profits. The last one that I had, the Edo Kosode, I was honestly thinking of sending that one away to get cleaned because of the high discrepancy of I paid like practically nothing for it. But the problem is when you get something that's 200 years old, it's really hard to get someone to fix. Like, you have to go to museums and talk to their conservators. Like, there are people who can do it, but I mean, like, when you have to get those professionals involved, the cost begins to skyrocket. And if I were to get the Edo Kosode I just sold fixed up, it probably would have cost me upwards of $500. Now, could I have still made profit off that? Yes, I would have. But that's a lot of money. And the other problem too is I'm guesstimating 500 US, which is not good here in Canada right now. Yeah, seriously, wow. I don't even want to think about the price. It'd be like well over $650. And it's like that would really cut into it. Now, is it worth it? Oh, of course. When you have something of that age and of that caliber, it's definitely worth it. But this was a piece I wasn't going to hang on to. I bought it to sell, mostly because I bought it so cheaply and I need income. Which, I know it sounds absolutely horrible. Like, I have so many kimono in my collection, and it's like, why are you selling this one? That's why. I need to make a living. So could I have? Yeah, sure, but then it would have taken up more time sitting in my inventory. It would have taken a lot of money out of profits. At that point, I may have, like, after going through shipping and issues and sending out and cleaning and getting it back, that would take a couple months. And by the end of it, if I was lucky, I would have maybe had $500 in profit, which, again, that sounds big, but my profit amount wouldn't have even equaled how much would go into repairing it. So if I were to keep it, yes, I would have gone and sent it off to a conservator, but since I was selling it, I did not. I did tell the person who bought it how they can get it conserved, and if they want to, they can pay for it, because, well, they bought it. But that's how that one worked. When I look at other items, it's really a toss-up when you look at conserving. Conservation efforts. There we go. Conservation efforts. Conserving, I don't even think is a word. That was really weird. So when it looks to conserving, yeah, no, let's not. That's not a word. Conservation efforts on a kimono. If it's something in your personal collection and you feel you want to wear it or save it or just want to, bring it back to its splendor of when it was originally made, go for it. If you can, try and find someone near you. There are actually a lot of dry cleaners who can specialize in really fancy silk. Like, I thought that this would be like a hard thing to find, but it's actually not, which is really, really cool. Like, if you just have one that just has stains on it, those can actually be taken care of quite well, actually. And I'm just thinking here, if it's just some stains, like, I don't know, maybe it's a water stain, which actually do turn out brownish, kind of almost like a soy sauce stain, those can actually be gotten out. So don't be afraid to send that off to a dry cleaner. Again, talk to them beforehand. Don't just arrive and be like, hi, I have a kimono that I want you to clean. That's not going to end well. Well, it may, but it's going to be really awkward. Like, always talk to people first before you do anything like that. And there are people who have done it themselves. Like, you can find guides online as to how to clean kimono or how to clean silk. I have seen people who have done it. Would I personally do that? No. Mostly because I can't unpick all the stitches and then stitch it all back together. Like, my sewing skills are next to non-existent. So I would not be able to do that. Have I tried to before? Yes. Did I get anything out of it? I wouldn't really say that it changed much. Not enough that it was noticeable. So just to save time and money, take it to a professional. Unless you've actually had experience doing it yourself, like you've tried it on like something cheap, I don't know, that's cool. Besides that, I would not recommend that. So I'm going to go change topics for now, because apparently just talking about kimono can be boring. And I'm really sorry that I kind of got off there, but the tangent today are people sent in questions about kimono, so I'm going to answer that first. This is an issue I want to look in that people were kind of surprised with yesterday. And I'm going to read that one out, and I want to actually explain this out because this is probably better to be explained in more words than it is to be typed. So this one was, how common is it for Kia to forbid their Maiko from keeping a cell phone? Is it true the girls from Daimonji, Ichi, and Nakasato are allowed to have phones, but the Maiko and Umeno aren't? It seems weird considering how into social networking Yuko seems to be. I never understood why she has 2 Instagram accounts where she posts basically the same stuff. By the way, is Yuko the official Okasa now? Thank you for your time. Cool. So, we're going to start question by question again. And the cell phone issue is one that people don't really know about, which is interesting. That a lot of people realize. They're like, oh, they can't have cell phones. No, they cannot have cell phones. In some districts, you're not allowed to have a cell phone until you're a full Geiko. Some will allow it when you're like a very senior Michael, like maybe your last year. Besides that, you don't have cell phones. Mostly because, well, they are distracting to your work. Oh, hey, look there, I'm green suddenly for a second. Yay! So beyond that, oh, no, I went back to yellow. Sorry. I'm looking at how the stream is functioning, and I really don't know why I'm having hangups. So cell phones are one of those things. It's not that they're trying to keep them from the modern world. It really is that it's... it is a distraction. I don't know what other word to use for that. It is a distraction. Like, for people who have cell phones, you know how often you want to check them for just whatever, even if it's for social networking. You can really get taken away by cell phones. For the most part, will they have access to a computer? Sure, if the Okia has one. Like, they're not completely devoid of contact. And again, all the Geiko have ones. If you have Mike who's like, oh my god, I want to see this, then, you know, they'll help them out. Like, these girls usually have, like, the newest and best phones, by the way, too. Which are really awesome, because they, like, have so many charms on them and everything. It's so cool to see. But, again, as for who in Kamishichikan can actually have a cell phone, I don't know. But I'm going to say they probably have the same rules as everyone else, as Geiko can have a phone, and possibly Senior Michael can have a phone. So, again, the second part was social networking that Yuko, the Umeno Kami-san, currently does. Yes, she posts on social media a lot. And by a lot, I mean, like, she has, like, 3-4 posts a day, maybe even more sometimes. And really, that's a way for her to expand the brand. Also, I believe it is in her contract with Toyota that she has to promote their brand, like, daily. Like, looking through, as I mentioned before, as of last year, Toyota signed a deal with Umeno that Umeno would promote their Kyoto edition of the Toyota Prius. And one of the conditions is that, you know, like, they have to take so many pictures with the car, or around the car, I should say. There are events that they do have to go to, like, it's like once every, like, 4 months-ish, that Toyota's like, hey, can you come here and, like, almost be like a floor model? I can't remember the booth girls almost. There we go. And basically just kind of stand there. People could take pictures beside the Maiko and the Prius, because yay, we're promoting the Prius. And again, you'll notice they'll do that probably 3-4 times a year. But the other thing too is, if you notice, if you go on any of Yuko's Instagram pictures, like, there's always hashtag Prius, or Toyota Prius, or Kyo Prius, or Kyoto Prius, or anything along that lines. Yes, hi, okay, so I really had problems. So let me just finish the question first before I have questions coming in. Someone asked, is Yuko the official Okasan of Umeno? Of Umeno itself? No. Of the Okia part? Yes. She has likely been the Okasan of the Okia for a while, but due to her age and that her mother still technically runs the umbrella of Umeno, which also includes the Ochaya, that she is still technically just called the Okami-san. But she has now been at the forefront of helping to run the Okia since I believe 2008 or 2009. So she hasn't just suddenly jumped into it. And I mean, like, she had a really steep curve coming into it. But she seems to be doing a lot better now, which I'm personally am really relieved of, because there have been talks in the past that some of the girls were not getting along with her and that she was being very difficult, but apparently that has passed, and I have heard nothing of that in years now. I think it may have just been a learning curve issue of her when she first started, mostly because, well, everyone still defers to her mother, because her mother is and was literally Umeno. That was her game. So yeah, honestly, I'm happy that Yuko has evolved and that she's actually taking control of the social media thing, because the Karyoka is just kind of starting to get into it. Obviously you're not gonna have the purest areas like Gyeonkobu or Pontacho just being like, hey, we're here, because they're a lot more I don't want to say inclusive? That's the good word there. They're a lot more inclusive. Whereas I can go on a couple of the websites for Okia and Miyagawa-cho, and they'll say, this is what we're looking for in Maiko. You can apply right here. You would not see that in Gyeonkobu. That would just be, wow. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just, it's an inclusivity issue. So, yes, Yuko has been the official Okasan of the Umeno Okia, but her mother still runs all the operations, and obviously her mother's trying to retire because her mother's in her 80s. Umeno-san, I know that she was a geiko in the 50s, so math. she's not exactly a spring chicken, but oh man, she is an awesome lady. Just putting that out there. She's awesome. No one could touch Katsukiyo, though. Oh my god, she was an amazing woman, but, rest in peace, lady. She died last year. She was so cool. I just want to go to that. So anyway, sorry, I'm gonna go back to the live chat now, just because I've been rambling for 5 minutes. So, again, I'm so sorry if people are having issues. I don't know why the stream sucks on YouTube. I had no problems on Twitch prior. So I'm going to go to the questions. So I don't know if the question came through. The audio didn't load for me just now. Post again just in case. No, it actually did not. So now I can see it. Could you please tell how the Imoto system works in the Hanamachi? Normally, there seems to be various stages of learning a student can go through to advance. Is this the same in the Hanamachi? I'm guessing, is this the same from Hanamachi to Hanamachi? Because otherwise, of course it's going to be the same for the same district. Okay, so let me start at the beginning here. The Imoto system is basically, really the best way to explain it is to compare it to the apprentices system that basically all the other world has. Imoto, as you wrote it, that is the grandmaster of a certain school of whatever. That's Iemoto, the way you wrote it. I don't think you specifically meant Iemoto. I think you meant Imoto, which is the younger sister. Honestly, that is literally what it translates to. Even if I had like a family and I suddenly had a younger sister and I was Japanese, I would refer to them as imoto. So I'm going with the imoto system here. Sorry if it's being an ass. Maybe I'll try Twitch next time. But the imoto system is, like it says, various learning stages a student can go through to advance. Which, again, that's not the imoto. Like, I'm kind of confused and I'm trying to make this out, and I'm so sorry if it's not coming across properly. Like, the imoto system is a system specifically for teachers, which means that usually, like, if you were to start with that school, there's literally a track for performers and a track for teachers. So if you were a track for teacher, you'd literally learn how to teach right from the start and all the way through, until eventually, possibly, you were the top. If we're going through the imoto system, that one's a lot easier to explain because it's a lot more visual. Sorry. So, let's start way back at the shikomi part. Sorry, I really don't know why I suddenly have to clear my throat. So we look at shikomi. They're usually 14, 15-year-old girls, which is, it really takes a lot of effort to leave your house at that age, to go off to some place you've never been before and suddenly start working. Like, the life of a shikomi it can be quite difficult. Because most of the time what you're doing is a lot of chores, because that is the system of how everything works in Japan. Anywhere you're trying to do, it is always the younger or more junior who does the things for the seniors. So, shikomi being on the very bottom, they're going to be doing the cleaning, and they're going to be following people everywhere, which usually when they follow, that means that they're carrying bags, which you'll notice them doing a lot, but honestly, that is the great way for them to learn, because they're going to see while they're doing this how their elders or more seniors interact with other people of their rank, other people older than them, other people younger than them, and even just other people in the community. And the whole point of shikomi is to learn it by watching, which technically that's Minrai means. But that's the whole point of what they're doing. While they're taking their first lessons, they are shadowing people, so they can see how this is done, what will be expected of them when it becomes their turn, and so that they don't just go in blind or disoriented. So by the time they've reached Minrai, they've usually been around for about a year. That's about average. Some places will be 6 months. That is kind of short. Usually it's about a year. Like, for example, in Gyeonkobu, it's not unusual to see a girl for Koto Hajime in the middle of December, and yet she won't be debuting until like 16 months later. That is... Okay, hold on. Yes! Okay, thank you. You kind of explained the question better. I'm sorry if I went in the wrong direction. So, reading it again. What I mean, do, for example, students in Mylokoville earn certificates for dance like anyone else outside the Hanamachi would when they would study under the Wakayagi system? Okay, so, yes. I mean, like, just because their main job is working as a geisha doesn't mean that they don't belong to that school of dance. So, it's slightly different because it's not the same exact levels, but I mean, basically there's, obviously very beginner, which would be your Shikomi or Minrai, your Junior Michael. And then you start to get to senior Myko. Then when you're more experienced, like, you have to be a certain level in order to become a Geiko. It's not just all about age. Hence why, when doing the math last week, we actually saw a couple girls who turned their collar while they were 19, which seems really young. But if they've already reached the level that they should be at, for Geiko, they'll do it. They're a bit more rare when it comes to that. Like, most districts, you usually be 20 already, or 21 tends to be the really average number. Mostly because they want their girls prepared for, how they should act as a Geiko. But sometimes, if they're early, Mylokoville specifically does not hold them back. So once you become a Geiko, you've now hit a different level from when you were Chikomi, Minerai, and Myko. From there, then, you go from Geiko level to Natori level. And Natori is usually, including your Shikomi time and Minerai time, takes about 20 years or so. And I'm being very serious when I say 20 years is average. In the case specifically of the Wakayagi school, I do have to make an exception because I don't know how or why, but Toshimana is already considered Natori. And I don't know how, because it's unprecedented. Like, she's only in her mid-20s. Most people are in their 30s to 40s when they achieve Natori status, but somehow she has done it far sooner. Like, I don't know if she's just like some prodigy, but she has actually attained Natori already, which is pretty crazy. And that's also why she has one of the more main roles in the Kyorodori this year. If I recall correctly, she is playing the younger Princess Kaguya, I believe. I'd have to go back and check. I don't specifically remember, and I'm sorry about that. But yeah, she is dancing the roles that if you look at the other people dancing, they're Natori. So she has already become Natori, and I was going to say, I'm like, if we do calculations again, I believe she was the one born in 93, so that means she's like 23 years old, and she's already Natori. That's pretty insane. Like, Mineko Iwasaki started dancing when she was 6, and she didn't reach Natori until she was... What? Ah, crud. Sorry, I dropped there for a second. Oh my god. Sorry about that, people. I don't know how or why it dropped. Like, I'm not even doing anything. Like, YouTube is crazy. You remind me not to use YouTube next time. It's kind of buffering. Whatever, that's cool. No. Sorry, I'm just trying to recheck some of the stats because I don't know why it's doing this. But anyway, sorry, back to my question there. So, approximately, Toshimana right now is 23, about to be 24, and she is already Natori. In comparison, Mineko Iwasaki started dancing when she was 6, and I believe she was 25 or 26 when she reached Natori status. So, again, she had 20 years there. I know that Toshimana was taking dance lessons before she went into the Karyuka. I'm not sure what school she studied under. It's very possible that she studied under the Wakayagi system, but it's still unprecedented that she would already be Natori, and has been now for almost a year. So she was Natori at like 22, 23. Like, that's just insanity. Like, I don't know if she's some prodigy. I'm guessing she has to be, because it is a learning-based system that the better you learn, obviously, the farther you start to advance. Like, everyone isn't kept on the same level. So if she somehow got that far ahead that quickly. Like, it's just mind-boggling. Like, I can even barely get my mind around it. You'll notice in images that, well, most Mylokoville, Michael, and Gecko, their fans are, well, they have the red bamboo. That's one of their things of their actual district. And then their fans are orange and cream, and they have little hailstone patterns and the Wakiyagi crest in gold. If you look at Toshimana's, her orange has been replaced with purple, which looks a lot like the system that Gyeongkobu uses. Their Michael fans are technically red to show they're junior, and then when you become a Gecko, they're purple. Again, it kind of fits. That's usually what most happens. In Kamishichikan, though, theirs becomes green when you're a Gecko, and then when you're a Tori, they turn purple, which, again, is weird. But again, they also start out with red. Pontacho also starts out with that red-orange. And then, oddly enough, there isn't really a set fan design for Gecko of Pontacho, which I find is really interesting, because, like, all their Michael have the same one. It looks really similar to the Inoue one, actually, except theirs has more of the kind of wave pattern that Kamishichikan's uses, but it's all at the bottom like the Inoue one, and then at the top it actually has golden chidori, and that's how you can tell it's from Pontacho. They're the only ones who use that style, and they're made just for them. And no, you cannot go into a store and just buy these. So, like, I can't just go into the store who sells the fans and, like, makes the fans and be like, yeah, I want one of these. Like, no, you have to earn them. I got mine through an auction, which I explained a while back. But yeah, where was I again? Yeah. So, Notori is Notori right across the board. So, whether you're in the Karyukai or you're outside the Karyukai and, like, you know, you're just average person who's taking Wakayagi lessons, you also have the same Notori status, or can obtain the same Notori status that a Gecko can. Again, it's approximately 20 years of study is the approximate. Like, I wish I were kidding. I'm not. 20 years is usually how long it takes. Again, I have no idea how Toshimana did it faster, and if she's some crazy prodigy, but yeah, 20 years is Notori status. And yes, you could become Notori too. Yay! Again, you'd have to check in your local area. Like, you probably have some kind of, like, Japanese cultural center or something near you. Like, I know I have one near me, and then there's a far larger one in Toronto. Obviously, though, I can't really go to Toronto just for dance lessons, because, dear God, I don't have that much money. But you are going to find people around you who are teachers of certain schools. Usually, if you're around the same area, from geographical area, they're all going to be around the same school. Like, I'm fairly certain the ones in Toronto are the same school that's here. Who I honestly cannot remember who it is, and I feel so bad because I used to know. Like, that's partially why I took Ikebana, because at the time, the person who was teaching dance was only accepting middle to high level students, and I would have been a complete total beginner, so that didn't work. So Ikebana let in anyone, so I started learning Ikebana because I couldn't get into dance. It would be really hard for me to get into dance right now, not because of age, but I actually have hip issues, which is kind of why I can run a blog right now, because I'm literally just waiting for surgery, which is so annoying. So yeah, that's how I sit around and do stuff on my computer all day. I'm sitting and waiting, and it sucks. It really does, and this is not the first time I've done it, which really seems terrible, but yeah. So, yay, health issues. But anyway, so, just trying to think here. just going back through your question to see if I missed anything. So everything inside is the same as the outside, whether you're taking it or not. Do they have certificates? Yes, actually you do get a certificate once you reach a certain stage. It's actually kind of cool. You do get a certificate. But obviously most Myco or Geiko won't show that off. They'll show it with their fans. Like, their dance fans, not their, like, supporter fans. Oh god, that's one thing I love about English. You can have the same word spelled the same way and have different meanings, and then it's like, wait a second, I could actually be confusing people because I could be using either of the two meanings, so haha, double entendre. So yeah, mostly you show it off with your fan that you have. And again, if you were to take lessons, you would get specific fans too. It wouldn't be as obvious. Normally a lot of schools don't have restrictions specifically on what kind of fan you use. Like, there may be some performances where, like, if you're playing a heron, your fan will just be blank white, and that's normal. But for the most part, you can usually have, like, your own fan. If you were to have, like, a dance recital, you'd probably all have matching fans then. But again, that's outside and inside, middle side, fun stuff. Just going back through here, looking at some of the really weird and interesting questions. Actually, yeah, I'm going to address something that people have asked so many times about, and I don't know, I thought I've answered it well. Apparently I haven't, and I'm sorry if I haven't. But people talk about, what is the Myco look? Like, that quintessential Myco look. And basically, the look is, you're petite. You're probably around maybe 5 feet, 5'2". I'm sorry, I suck with centimeters because we have a really mixed system here. You're petite, round face is totally necessary. And you basically have to be, like, cute. Like, obviously some girls look more mature than others, but the more immature you look as a Myco can actually get you farther. And it's just something that's expected of them. So, like, I mentioned off a couple, and before I'll specifically go back to the picture issue that I brought up, which was Ichiyu. Sorry. Like, she's very petite. Not like, you know, you're gonna crush her petite, but I mean, she's small, she has a rounded face, she has rounded features, and she honestly is just overall adorable. Like, she looks like a doll. And if you look at a Myco and be like, wow, I'm looking at a doll, that's the Myco look. That is it right there. And I'm so sorry if this keeps cutting out or if this is crap. I will learn then from that. Thank you. And let's see. I got about 5 minutes left. What do I want to kill notes on? Oh, yeah. I'll bring up one last issue. Specifically, going back to the picture of Katsuna and Umekana at Baikasai on Saturday. I did get to see the video where I believe someone was actually taking the photo that I posted right beside it. But this moment literally happened for a second. A literal second. Like, they were just kind of passing each other. Katsuna barely stopped, adjusted, and they kind of shidare, and then they just kept going. And it was just so seamless and so flawless. And I looked at that and I'm like, that's how they all have each other's backs. Like, people think that there's, like, some crazy rivalry, mostly due to reading Mineko Iwasaki's book. Yes, it used to be much worse. Like, it used to be a lot more competition. But today, they're all taught to work together, because what reflects on one will reflect on the others. So, Katsuna, just noticing that something was off, just quickly fixed it, and then boom. And they just kept going. They treated it as if it was nothing, and that's kind of how it should be treated. Like, you shouldn't have to make a show of helping someone out. Like, it should be discreet. Like, first of all, the Shidare issue, it's really easy to get those stuck in your hair or behind your ear. Like, they just gotta flutter that way. And it can be annoying. You'll see some pictures sometimes of Michael that'll have, like, one just, like, stuck on their ear. It happens all the time, actually. So, to see Katsuna just, like, barely stop and fix it, the both of them just kind of recognized what happened, and then they both just kept going on, was just such a special moment that it was managed to be caught. And I'd love to see the photo from the other side. Like, if you look in it, you'll notice a lady has, like, a yellow camera and taking the picture of that moment. I would love to see it from the other side, just because you could see both their faces and not just Imekana's. But I mean, like, I just love that. It's so subtle. And it literally happened in a second, and yet it shows so much about the sisterhood that they all share and how they look out for each other. And no, it's not a vicious rivalry. They really do all care about each other, and they do all want to succeed. Like, it's not a race to the top. Well, in some places, some are a bit more competitive, but I mean, like, there's no sabotaging or anything like that. Like, as someone asked before, like, if any of the stuff that happened when Mineko Iwasaki was around, like, you know, like, doing some of the things in front of the guests, it's like, okay, that would be, like, severely punished today. Like, really severely. As I mentioned, you would probably be barred from certain establishments, and possibly even from dancing or such, which is quite severe when you're looking at that. But nowadays, the girls are taught to work together. And if you can't work together, and you're a bit too, I don't want to say independent, because that's not the word I'm looking for, but I mean, like, if you go out of your way to, like, just ignore people and try to be like a diva or something, you're not going to do well. Like, that's just how it works. You live in a very, very, very close-knit community. So, you can't really go around pissing people off. I'm sorry, that's, like, the best term I could think of. You have to work together, and especially in smaller areas like Kamishichiken, which who currently has 8 Maiko, which is pretty good for them. They all have to work together, because if they leave someone out, that person fails, then their district starts looking bad. And yes, it usually happens, like, on average 2 to 3 times a year. Well, you will have a very junior Maiko quit. And usually, no, it's not harassment. It's because it really takes a toll on your body. Like, I don't know how these girls do it. I really don't. But it is absolutely amazing that they can. And they have to work together. And just seeing that photo, like, I just look at it, like, I'm looking at it right now. It's such a perfect moment, because it literally lasted a whole second, and yet it shows everything about their sisterhood just perfectly. And I love how so many people constantly are talking about the kimono that Katsuna is wearing, that basically has now been regulated to just being worn for Baikasai, because that kimono is actually pushing 30 years old. And if, obviously, they were to use it for normal Ozushiki all the time, it would be even more worn. So it's not exactly a formal kimono. Like, it's more kind of like semi-formal, because it's of really high quality. If you actually look at it, there's some nice shibori. It's not real shibori, though, by the way. It's painted on. But the cool thing is that it has swallows all over it. The shibori is actually waves, and the other parts are swallows. Half of the swallows are actually the fake shibori, and the other half are dyed in almost a way that it looks like bingata. I'm not 100% sure if it is, because usually, like, you know, all Maiko kimono are made in Kyoto using kyoyuzen. I don't know about that. But it's a really unique piece. And it is getting on in years, and it really only shows up now for Baikasai. And honestly, it really stands out. Like, I don't blame them. Some people may have noticed that the usual stunner kimono that Umeno use, which is the like deep red and the peonies, that was actually sold off a couple weeks ago on Yahoo Japan auctions. So Umeno no longer has that kimono. And yes, it actually, for some reason, was in immaculate condition, where some other others were not. And I believe it ended up selling for over $800, which that was about expected. Some people thought it would go for over $1,000. I thought it would too, but it didn't. Honestly, though, if I had the cash, oh my god, I would have gone for that. That piece is legendary. But yes, it's now out of Umeno's radar, which I think is possibly a way of Yuko showing that she is now the Okasa, and like, you know, she's getting rid of the old, which has happened a bit over the years, but I mean, like, really getting rid of it. But god, that kimono's gorgeous. I totally envy whoever ended up with it. Like, I really do, because that's gorgeous. And some things that some people may not have known, a lot of Umeno's kimono originally came from Daimonji, which has actually been traced back quite well. And I don't remember if that specific peony one was one of the ones that did, but a lot of theirs came from there. A lot of ones that they've gotten rid of, and now that they're moving on to the new Kamon design because Yuko's taken over. Honestly, I think that's really cool. I hope she does so well. And I'm looking at, boom, 1 hour, kind of dead on. So, if the stream sucked, I am so sorry, because I've never had issues like this before. Normally, it's been quite well, and I mean, like, I've done this on Twitch before while playing games and broadcasting games, and it's never been this bad. So I don't know if it's a YouTube issue or something else. I am so sorry about that, because the entire time it's been showing as like orange, or orangey yellow, which is not the greatest. Like on open source right now, it's actually showing me as red, and then on YouTube it's showing me as like yellow, and so that's not great. I should be green on YouTube and at most yellow on Open Broadcaster, but I'm not, and I don't know why. I'm so sorry. If I do this again, I will definitely have to get that fixed. Like, I feel so bad that people are like, yeah, there's a lot of lag and buffering, and I'm like, I don't know why. I should not be having this problem. I will definitely look into that for next time. If that means changing venues to Twitch,